So I want to go over the research part of what we're going to be doing. We are going to be doing some sort of building. Everyone will obviously get to pick their own building, but I want you to think of, we're not going to have a whole lot of textures on it, so we want to stay away from environments. We want to stay away from like a wood shack or something, because in order for that to look like a wood shack, we need to create wood on there. So if you look at more of these like futuristic type buildings, you can create some very cool designs without going into that. Even here, you can see the metal or glass right there, the glass right here, how there's like two different kinds of glass that are on here. Look at the profile of each kind of building. And you really want to start with that, understanding like the shape of your building, like what is the actual like structure of it. And then going through and trying to figure out what things are going to stick out from the building, what things are going to be recessed. Like in this one, it's very, yes, it's fine. Like in this one here, this is very smooth, but then when we get into this area, all these windowed areas here look like they're kind of like indented. And then we get way down here, there's a lot more platforms sticking out, okay? So you have to think of it in a bigger sense, like what is the overall shape? And then we have to get down into the nitty gritty of then what does each floor look like, what's sticking out, what's inside the building, and then also looking at what would each floor kind of do, right? In order for this to look like some sort of building that has glass on it, we can see through the glass, we have to model some sort of interior there to give us an indicator as to what the building is for, okay? Typically the hardest part is down here, like figuring out what am I going to do with the bottom of this thing, like how am I going to have an entrance or have an opening for people to get into without making it too boring. So here's more designs. If you look up Dubai, Dubai has a bunch of these like fancy buildings. Stuff like this is kind of cool too. Also think about the interior space. So think about if this was a real building and I had this piece of glass there, what is that room inside going to look like, right? If we were to have this fancy building here, you can see that some of these panes of glass are like tilted. So that would mean typically that the windows are tilted, the walls are tilted on that side. Just stuff to, again, keep in mind. So stuff like this, we would not do stuff like this, okay? This is like, later in the semester, we'll understand how to do these kinds of things. Right now, we're still on that base setup. Some more designs. Excuse me. There we go. So I would also go through and obviously get your reference and then start sketching out some different ideas, different aspects of it, and start looking at completing more higher end sketches or higher detailed sketches. These aren't just for me. If you go into your portfolio, you want to have a collection of things. It's not just like end products. People want to see what is your process for building this kind of stuff. How do you get from here's the assignment to getting it finished? You have to do research, look at a bunch of buildings, sketch some things out, combining different aspects of it. Now that could mean to anyone in here something different. I could go into Photoshop, and let's say that I liked this building is kind of cool. This is actually like water droplets. That's what it says. Or is water droplet shaped, I guess. But the coloring is cool. If I like this aspect of this, I could grab that part of the image, copy it, paste it into Photoshop, and then put some other building behind it, and then kind of make my own collage of what I want this building to look like. Everyone's sketches can be different. Same thing here. I could grab this shape that I like, but then make it look like something else by combining other images together, okay? In no instance do we want to just flat up, like, I'm going to do this building. You want to design your own building. You want to create something that has not been seen before. Even if it's combining stuff together, that's what you ideally would want to do. So think about windows, think about doors, think about the ceiling of it. Also think about the dimensions of it. Something like this, when you render it out, is going to be a tall image. When that goes into your portfolio, your demo reel, it's going to be shrunk down to fit on the screen, right? So if you did something a bit wider, then you would have obviously some more room that you could create your stuff in. So if you think of something like the Colosseum, that would obviously be a bit wider and kind of fit inside of a portfolio demo reel a bit better. I like the idea of having twisting, so like, you know, that's something that a lot of these fancier buildings will do. This one's kind of cool too. What's another one? Yeah, these kind here, you can see they're kind of like bulbous, so they're like one side's at the top, and then they kind of like thicken up, and then they come back down. That's, again, something else that buildings will have, or something like this, you know. So think about all the aspects of it, start gathering your material, and then start sketching out some different ideas for different buildings that you think you'd want to do. You can use Photoshop, you can use Illustrator. Find a tool that's going to work for you, because you want to have from the start to the end of this, okay? And then next week we'll actually get into doing this kind of thing. Questions on that?